Hello, I am Khatlang Wako and I'm a student teacher completing my portfolio representation for becoming a professional teacher module. The course code is BPT 1501. So today I'll be demonstrating how I used my interactive learning diagram to teach to grade 4 learners. So this is my full water cycle diagram. It has all the keywords and all the images I can say that shows the water cycle, how the water moves through the environment. So learners will be able to see, as you can see, learners will be able to see the diagram, label the stages, and interact with the terms to understand how the water move through the environment. So how will I demonstrate the lesson? So on demonstrating the lesson, I'll allow learners to observe the water cycle. So they'll be given a chance to observe the water cycle in a period of maybe 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, at least 10 minutes. Yeah, they'll be able to observe the water cycle diagram, and teach them the main keywords. I'll teach them the main keywords and the main keywords of the water cycle, which are evaporation, condensation, uh, precipitation, and collection. So first of all, by starting the lesson, on demonstrating the lesson, I'll explain what evaporation is. We all know that evaporation is the process whereby liquid changes to gas. When water is being heated on the surface by the sun and goes up in the forms of gas, that's what you call evaporation. So this is this diagram shows evaporation. This is the arrow that shows evaporation. These two arrows, they show evaporation. So yeah, like I said, I'll explain what evaporation is and show them the arrows that shows evaporation. And for questions, I'll ask them, what do you think causes evaporation? Teachers will be able to tell, like they will answer the question. They must tell me what causes evaporation. For example, I can give them a practical example, like a water being heated by the kettle. When you put the kettle on a stove and the water is being heated and evaporate. So what causes the evaporation? So this meaning that the stove causes evaporation. The heat from the stove causes evaporation. So like on this diagram, they must tell me what causes evaporation. What do they think causes evaporation? So for condensation, so for example, as I explained, evaporation. For condensation, I'll explain what condensation is. So condensation is the process whereby gas changes to liquid. When gas changes to liquid, we call that condensation, meaning that the gas that is being heated by the sun on the surface goes up and changes to liquid. That's what you call condensation. So I'll show them the arrow that shows condensation. Like for example, yeah, this is the arrow that shows condensation, and that water, that liquid, that liquid droplets, like they form clouds. That's what you call condensation. So the question will be what happens when the water cools? That's the question for condensation. What happens when the water cools in the atmosphere? What happens when the water cools in the atmosphere? What do you call that process? So for thirdly, I'll teach them precipitation. I'll teach them precipitation. So precipitation is any form of water that falls from the atmosphere to the Earth's surface. Precipitation is any form of water that falls from the atmosphere to the Earth's surface, meaning that precipitation can be in the form of rain, can be in the form of hail or snow. It can be in any form, as long as it is the water that comes from the atmosphere to the surface. So I'll point out the arrow that shows precipitation. As you can see on this diagram, this arrow shows precipitation is the water that goes to the bargain, is the form of English. So this arrow shows precipitation, and also this arrow shows precipitation. So what will be the question for precipitation? Would be what happens after it rains, and the question will be what happens after it rains. What do we call that process, and which forms does the water fall back to the earth? In what forms does the water fall back to the earth? Meaning that they must tell me in what forms does the water falls back to the earth. So lastly, I'll explain what collection is. So collection is the process where water that falls as precipitation, meaning as rain, as hail or snow, gathers in various bodies of the earth. What are various bodies? Various bodies can be a lake, can be a river, or can be a sea. Like for example, this is a lake, this is a sea, this is a river. So meaning that the water that falls to the earth's surface, it goes to the lake, to the river, and to the sea. That's what we call collection. So this arrow shows collection. This arrow shows collection. So what will be the question? The question will be what happens during collection. That's what the question will be. So learning benefits. What will be the learning benefits? So benefits, I'll read them out. This diagram promotes deep learning because learners explore the water cycle stages by labeling and pointing arrows of each stage, which strengthen their understanding. For student engagement, the tool is physically and visual. Learners love pointing out each stage, guessing answers to the terms, and explore throughout the whole water cycle. The content is visible because the labels are colored. As you can see, they are colored. So each image is labeled, and illustration makes complex concepts understandable for grade 4 learners with different learning style. It is fun and enjoyable because lesson turns into adventure. The questions such as where does the water go after rain, or what happens if there is no rain, helps learners apply their knowledge to real life context, which improve their critical thinking. So for sources, I used ChatGPT for explaining what evaporation is, condensation, precipitation, and collection. For image, I've used Activity Village. The image is from Activity Village, and I've also used CAPS Natural Science curriculum to align my context. Thank you for watching my presentation. This is my interactive learning diagram, and I hope it inspires learners to explore science with curiosity and creativity. Thank you.